All right, I won't waste a lot of your time by giving you a biography on these people. You know who they are. They are all very, very accomplished men, and they are people who have left such a lasting imprint on the music that they can be said to have changed it. So, just in the order, there's Joe Wilder. Candido. Quincy Jones. Gunther Schuller. Tom McIntosh. All right. I'll start with Joe Wilder, one of the greatest trumpet players of an age of great trumpet players. He did a lot of work with Lionel Hampton, and everybody who's ever played with Hampton has great Hampton stories. So could you give us one? Can you give us a Lionel Hampton story? I know everybody who's played with him has some.
Well, Lionel Hampton, he was, I think, in a sense, he was a giant, at the same time a midget. He had a bunch of wonderful players in the band. He had a good band and everything. But unfortunately, he treated most of us like, well, you know, if you weren't here, you wouldn't have a job at all. And no matter how much you tried to contribute to the band, to the betterment of the band, it was just like, well, so what? There are 500 other guys out there who can do what you're doing better if they want to and so forth. You felt so uncomfortable no matter how long you'd been there, you know. But, well, I must tell you, we had, I guess some people have heard about the mythical figure, Barracuda. And we'd have a rehearsal, for instance, we'd get some nice arrangements, and somebody in the band, somebody couldn't play the part very well, so as the rehearsal would end, you'd hear somebody say, you know, I think Barracuda is going to get this arrangement. You know? So there'd be nothing, we'd be in the bus, and we'd do like 80 miles an hour going on the highway someplace, you'd feel a draft, somebody had taken the third saxophone part and hung it out the window. So we get to the job where we're going to use the music, Lionel would call that particular arrangement, and so he'd have guys say, well, geez, I can't find the first trombone part. What happened to the third alto part? And it's just the way it would be. And one of the worst things, Gladys, his wife, took him to a Stetson hat store and got him a hat. It just looked great on him. The guy put it on. And when Lionel he put it up in the rack on the bus, and when we got to our destination, he took it out and he put it on. And instead of the brim being like this, the brim was like going this way, all twisted on his head. And somebody said, you know, it's a shame that hat would look so great when he left the hat shop. And I think Barracuda will probably get it before the night is over, sure enough. Well, we go look, you hear this breeze coming in through the bus. There went the hat down the highway. That's it. Thanks.
All right.
Now, and when you were coming up, musicians had the opportunity to hone their skills in doing section work in bands. Mm-hmm. And most of the musicians, of course, of the new generation did develop their talents that way. Right. Now, today's young musicians don't have the band opportunities that your generation had.
Right.
Do you think something is lost in the development of musicians by not having the experience of sitting around other people who have done this longer and more accomplished than you?
Right. I think you're right on that. During the time I was coming up, of course, there were so many different musical groups around, and you had rehearsals and things that you could go to, and you could learn from the fellows who were older than you. Today, they don't have those opportunities because, for instance, during the big band era, people went to ballrooms and they heard bands, and your children and middle-class children and so forth. You could go to these things and hear music, and it would inspire you to try to emulate what they were doing. But today, there's no people, they don't want to go to ballrooms and things because they're not sure they'll get home after the dance is over or something like that. But I think in that respect, we've lost a tremendous connection. But at the same time, you've got a lot of young musicians who are extremely talented. And they, in the schools, especially with this organization where you're promoting jazz and so forth, at my age, remembering when my father was a musician, how jazz, no matter what source it came from, and race had nothing to do with it, it was just jazz per se, was the devil's music, and it didn't belong any place but in some alleyway, something like that. And the whole act of jazz in itself has been raised to such a tremendous level, and I appreciate what all of you have done. And when you look at the crowd that we have out here, you see the admixture of different people and so forth. With jazz at this era is contributing more to the understanding and cooperation and affection for people who are like ourselves, all of us, you know. And it's a nice thing to see. I think it's raised the level of social understanding in this country and others, and I think you're all to be given great credit for it, and I am really happy to be one of the people involved with it.